Here's my car. Well, they're all my cars, but
and sit down.
What's up, Jim? Back at Lee's World. Finally got this thing out of storage and warmed up for the summer, and wife said I should do a walk around, so we're gonna walk around it. This is my 1968 Sedan Deville hardtop. It's got a 472 with 400 transmission, all Cadillac powered. There's a lot of things that have happened to this car. It's got air ride, of course. It's chopped 1.5 inches. It's got metal flaked bumpers instead of chrome. French power antennas come out right there. I've done all this work myself. Over the years, I've had this car a long time. If you'll notice, this side is a 4-door because it was a 4-door Sedan Deville. It's a story behind it. I was in Springfield for the summer cruise several years ago, and some kid was horsing around, and it was in Branson, not Springfield. It was in Branson. Some kid was horsing around in his Celica going around traffic, and somebody jumped in a turning lane, and he just sideswiped the whole car, knocked me over onto the curb, and then he ran, actually, and some folks went and caught him, and then his dad showed up and his brother showed up, and then they finally drug him back around. Anyway, they ended up paying me a ton of money because it's such a customized car. To replicate it would cost a ton. But so when I fixed it, I decided, you know, why do all that work just to make it the same? So I got on a 2-door Cadillac. It's got a different roof. Oh heck, I've got one right over here. So on a 2-door, you'll notice this monstrous sail panel. This big weird sail panel here. Well, this window opening from corner to corner is probably 55 inches long from this corner to that corner. Well, on a Sedan Deville, it's got a sexier sail panel. That's why I picked out the 4-door, because I like the roofs better. Well, anyhow, on a 67 and 68, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the window opening from corner to corner is 67.5 inches, which when I measured that, it struck me odd because it's a 67 and 68 only body, and to put that at 67.5 inches almost was like architecturally drawn. in my opinion. But anyway, so I couldn't put just a 2-door section in there because I'd never get glass to go back in. Why, you know, it's chopped 1.5 inches, so I'll never really probably put glass in it anyway. But I wanted that option, so what I did was I found a convertible and measured it, and I'll be damned if the convertible didn't have, from this point to that point, 67.5 inches. So I bought a convertible out of a field. I overpaid for it. I think I paid $1,600 for that turd. And you know, I parted it out. I got my money back, but I cut out this section. So the old passenger door ends right here, kind of a couple inches in front of, behind the, where the skirt starts, back here, and goes straight up. So somewhere in here about is where the 4-door used to land. And I just took that out. I took the pillar that used to be right around in here. I just cut it out. I drilled out all the spot welds and peeled it out of there. And then I did the same thing with the convertible. I peeled all the inside guts, the spot welds all out of there. And, you know, I grafted it in there. It's all welded in, but I just put that quarter panel piece there with the door. There's just a lot of measuring and figuring out. And I shaved the handle, of course, and the mirror and the chrome, and redid everything. But now I can put, it's not in there, but I can put the full quarter panel glass in there from the convertible, and it will halfway get up into that hole. I'll have to chop the glass 1.5 inches somehow, which anybody out there knows how to chop curved tempered glass, man, hit me up. But I think I'll have to have it made, and I just don't want to spend that kind of money. I think it's several grand to have the glass made on the sides, so I just don't know how worth it is to me. It's a fair weather car. This car has lasers up in the ceiling, and it's got a disco ball that hangs and spins. It has a smoke machine. It's my design, but I didn't do the upholstery. It's probably 10 years old now, the upholstery. I put a 60 steering wheel on it, flaked it. Now the dash is the original padded dash. I body worked it, primed it, painted it, clear coated it with flexible Bondo. They make it, you can get it from Evercoat. It's got rubber in it, you gotta mix it up, and it's really flexible Bondo you can buy. And then so I fixed all the cracks, all the gouges, it was a really nasty dash. I had nothing to lose. I'll go around. I mean, it came out really nice. It's got no cracks in it anymore. Anyway, after I did that, I came back with a bunch of primer with flex agent in it. Like, you could put flex agent in clear coat, but you can also put it in primer and base coat. So that's what I did. I put a ton of flex agent into the primer, sanded it all down, and then a ton of flex agent in the base coat and the flake, and also in the clear. So, you know, I don't like doing this, but it's flexible. You can push on it. Now, if somebody whacked their head on it real hard, it would probably crack. But the plan was to do this side too, and you know, people get such a kick out of it being a 3-door car. I just might leave it, because if I did do a full 2-door conversion, I would have to get a seat that leaned forward, because the 4-door seats don't lean forward. So I have to change out the seat and get one that leaned forward so people can get into the back. Right now they have an access door that can get into the back. But it's also kind of fun because people don't realize, they'll walk around the car 3 or 4 times and not notice that it's a 2-door on one side and a 4-door on the other. So it's got 55 Cadillac Dagmar bumpers grafted in, and they're metal flaked. Kind of hard to see in the shade, but I figure it's got 67 marker lights. And the reason I did that was because, or not marker lights, but, well, it's got 67 marker lights because they make it look cool. Here, it's not 67. The 68s are flush and they look all sexy. I'm sorry, 67s. 68s are not so cool looking. So I actually had to make mounts on the back of this so that these 67s would set in on these 68 fenders, because that's the only different part of a 68 to a 67 fender is the way these lights mount in there. It's actually different metal behind there. So anyway, I did that. And then the 67 light, start over. The 1968 lights have a bezel, and part of that bezel, there's a strap that goes right here. Well, in 67, it didn't have that strap. It still had a bezel, but it has a bezel that just went like this with no straps. You could technically pull this all out without taking the bezel off. 68, you had to take the bezel off too. I don't know why they did that, but so I put 67 lights in because the bezel and the situation with it all made for a built-in French kit. So this bezel is not, I grafted it to the fender with panel bonder and stuff. So it's basically if you take 67 lights and put them in a 68, it's a French kit. It's like a easy French kit, and I can still pull this bezel out and get to all my headlights and stuff, and worked real good. So that's another custom touch. I shaved all the chrome, welded up all the chrome holes on the side. I got rid of the mirrors. I chopped the roof 1.5 inches. I leaned my post in and back. I did not lengthen or widen the roof. It just went straight down. I made up the difference. If you really get close here, you can't see it. I can stick my fingernail. That's actually the end of the edge of the windshield. I sunk it into the cowl. So I cut my wipers off and I sunk them down 1.5 inches, and I remade the bottom channel. So the windshield just went down 1.5 inches. And these posts leaned in to meet the windshield and the roof. So I just added a ton more glue, and there's a little extra metal pad right there to make up the difference. And this chrome actually hides where the windshield is. So it all worked out nice. And then I brushed all the chrome, all the stainless, into a brushed finish. Like, this car's in primer now, but before the wreck it was satin blue. And when I got done fixing it, I sprayed it in gray primer, and I just didn't like the way it looked gray. So I took some of the original color that I had and I thinned it out really far with my gun, and I held it clear up over the car, and I just fanned it at the last second while the primer was still tacky. I just ran around the car. I didn't even run. I just kind of just like 4 feet away from the car, just fanned this really thin coat of the original color on it. And it, you know, still represents the car how it used to be. What else I do? Obviously it's on air ride. Shaved the trunk lock, of course. I've got a little dingle dobby right here that I pull, and it pops the trunk. The trunk is all business. I'm probably not even going to show you guys. It's just car show stuff and air ride and just air horns, you know, compressors. There's the name of the channel it came from. And that comes from a Social Distortion song called Bad Luck, which this is also a metal cutout I got from, I want to say, I can't remember the company. They used to come to the car show and sell all that stuff, but that's all actually cut out of steel on a laser machine, and then, or a plasma cutter, and then I sanded it all down and painted it and stuck it up in there. Everybody thinks it's a sticker, but it's actually, it's metal. He's got a blue martini. Blue martini. Cat. So yeah, when I chopped the car, the back used to come up like that and over. And this was a vinyl top California car, and it was not it's not rusty anywhere on the car, but right around here it was, because of the vinyl top, and it had rusted that whole section out. So I was gonna have to do something anyway, so I figured I'll just chop it. So I chopped the top down until it's set kind of level with the trunk, and then I drew a line on my metal that I had in there already and cut it right there and built a windshield channel. I kind of need to redo it because I didn't put enough strength in this area. It's plated inside and up in here, but this little area right here is weak, and it's got fast air rides. I just need to tear that all back out and reinforce it real good with some good metal, like some thick metal, and attach it to the package tray better. I didn't realize how much structure was actually there. It doesn't twist too much, but it's enough to crack that out. Let's see. Yeah, the sail panel used to sit out here above the door, actually, and this chrome was out here with this chrome. So you can see how when I chopped the top 1.5 inches, it just shrunk in, like everything went in. So it came forward and in, but I never widened or lengthened the roof like you normally would on a chop. I just set it straight back down, and then I made up this little area out of metal just to make up the difference. So it's really just kind of makes the car look pretty sinister, and nobody can usually figure it out. It's not very often somebody notices that it's chopped, unless it's a Cadillac person. I made my own exhaust out of some Patriot exhausts. Those are just a few $100s on eBay. I got the longest ones I could, and I actually added 2 entire feet to it. And then I was at the junkyard one day scrapping a car, and they had these aluminum tubes there. Man, I gotta find those. I got 2 more somewhere. But those aluminum tubes, I took them, mounted them to some 4x4s, and I used a bunch of WD-40 and a table saw, and I ran it all the way through one side and all the way through the other, and cut the thing in half with a table saw and a bunch of WD-40. Then I set them up on a 36-inch end mill, and I think I had to set them up 3 times per line of holes, and there's 3 holes, and setting up those half circles, those half round tubes, was pretty hard to do on a mill. But each one of those holes is exact and perfectly machined from the other one. They're spaced perfectly. So I had to do 3 rows of them and set them up 3 times per 3 rows. So I did set them up 9 times per pipe cover, and it was a long day because I had to do 2 of them. And then we cut out some stainless steel chevrons, polished them up. And then if you look close, there's that heat tape, that graphite colored heat tape. I got a roll of that for free from, I can't remember who gave it to me. Somebody gave it to me. And so I took the pipes all apart, I put it on underneath there, and I think it looks real trick. But yeah, I just added 24 inches to the existing Patriot exhaust that they sell. It's probably $400 for that exhaust now, but those are the factory wheels with BF Goodwrench Coker Silver Towns. I don't know if you can get the BFGs anymore from BFG. I'm not sure. I machined out the centers so those bullets would come through. Don't ask me the size. Don't ask me where I got them. They got them on eBay. I'll have to measure again when I ever have to replace them. But it was crazy because this side of the car, the right side of the car, the wheels were coming loose because these are hub centric. And when I machined that out, all the weight of the car ended up sitting on the lug nuts. So on the passenger side of the car, the wheels were coming loose. And everybody says, oh, the left side of the car is the ones that needs reverse threads. I beg to differ. It's the right side of the car because these came loose. Every time the wheel went forward, if you think about it, the weight of the car would transfer onto this side as it's rolling forward, would transfer onto this side of the lug nut. Every time it came forward, the lug nut would get weighted that way. It'd spin it backwards. And it's sure enough loosened up the right side wheels. So that left side, left-hand thread myth, there's a reason why they don't do it anymore, because they didn't need to. If anything, you would need it on the right side. Unless you're driving in reverse for a long time, I guess. But trust me on that noise, I learned. My wheels started getting wobbly. So I had to go in and take all the threads, all the studs out of this side of the car and put in reverse threaded studs. And it fixed it. They've never come loose again. So that's why I have Cool Guy bullet lug nuts on this side. But on the other side, they're just regular lug nuts. Nobody ever seems to notice that either. Lots of custom stuff on this. I just, it's got air right. It's got a full light package and lights up the wheels and, you know, all the goofy stuff you want to do. Everybody kind of trips out on my brass knuckles, which weren't no big deal. It's just something I bought on eBay. The 60 steering wheel was kind of cool. I cut the center section hub out of my 68 wheel and cut this hub out too, and welded, just swapped them and welded the hubs. Not even that super hard. It's not finished. I want to someday, but it's just you know how life is, especially if you got all this other crap that you want to see come to fruition. It's hard to got my little blue dots. It's hard to come back to this car when I know that I can hop in it and drive it anywhere. I can win awards with it and it's not even done. Like, I can go to a show and most times get a trophy. So it's hard to tear into it and take it apart to do it all the way, but someday I will. But this is my baby. Her name is Bad Luck. She's kind of my calling card. She's the first one I ever really built, and it got me all the local notoriety. Really, I haven't even built anymore. I've not to this extent, so this will always be my baby. I do love some other cars around here a lot, but this one's, I guess, gonna be sentimental. It's got blue headlights that shine when I turn on the LEDs. It's got LED 194s in there. I can turn them on, make them blue. It's also got blue tri-beam headlight, tri-bar headlights. They're H4. They kind of take some juice up. Now, a note on that, if you do H4 bulbs in these old cars, it heats up the plug, so it's I put ceramic plugs on it to keep them from melting. But then it was tripping, like if I ran it too long at night, it would shut off and shut back on, or turn back on, shut off, go back and forth. There's actually a breaker in your headlight switch that pulls too much amperage for, so it starts to shut it off. So it's best to run a relay and then run your headlight switch to the relay to turn on the relay, and then have the headlights just come straight off the relay instead of through that switch if you're going to run this. But I think now everybody runs LEDs, which I should change to, so I'll go to an H4 LED that won't pull as many amps and can probably run through my switch. My wife's blowing me up right now, as she does, so I'll probably answer her phone call. This is the best I've ever done so far, and I hope to do something with that, because 59 Buick is just as mean looking as a 68 Caddy, probably meaner. I mean, that car makes my car look friendly, and my car used to look mean. But that's one of my dream cars right here. So I'll probably do another crazy good long-term build on that, possibly, or leave it. I don't know, they're so cute the way they are. But that's the kind of gist of this story. Oh yeah, it's a California black plate car. That's the original plates for the car right there. Not sure why it powered off, but I flaked those a long time ago when I worked for Ryan over at Kustoms back in the day, before they were all famous. I did some prep work for him for, I don't know, a while. Anyway, he let me flake my plates, and I think he even did my air cleaner. The motor's kind of cool. It's kind of dirty, but you know, it's nothing worth opening the hood for right now. I'm just too tired. Plus, I gotta go. Anyhow, that's my '68 Sedan. I think my camera's getting too hot. It keeps shutting off. So, anyway, this is just the end of the video. Take it easy.